It's a speaker series night here at the Golden Door. I'm Kathy Van Ness, and I'm so excited to find out all the secrets of the beauty business from the quite infamous Boldijarre, who is the founder and the CEO of an incredible company called Éminence. Now, we have Éminence here on our property, and it sells like crazy, and it is an incredible product. And we've had it in our company only about maybe a year now, something like that. And since we've had it, all we do is sign reorders. So it's all good. But let's talk about Boldijarre. He is the founder of Éminence Organic Skin Care. He's a master trainer from Budapest. That's right. I love that. He's a dedicated lecturer and so funny. I have seen him lecture several times. He's an herbalist. He's a master of European aesthetics and massage, and he's a survivor of childhood leukemia. Childhood leukemia, given a 1% chance of survival when he was a young boy at 4. Look at him. This doesn't look like that today. Look at him. I think organic is definitely important. He has since dedicated his life to delivering healthy skincare options and giving back to charitable organizations like the ones that helped save his life, which we talked about a little bit at lunch today, and I'm sure he'll share tonight. When he's not traveling, he lives in the beautiful Canada, British Vancouver, lovely place, lovely. At only 4 years old, you were diagnosed with leukemia, and you were given that 1% chance of survival. Tell me about, back then, some of the natural remedies your parents used. Were they both topical and ingested?
That's right. So many of these were, but before I get started, I would like to, can we all agree what an incredible, beautiful place this Golden Door is? Let's hear it for the whole staff and for Kathy for having such an incredible thing. And thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
This is like heaven, except they let me in here. So it's really nice. The towels and the bathrobes are so fluffy, I barely could close my suitcase this morning. That was really crazy. I absolutely love that. It's just fantastic. Really appreciate it. Yes, I actually have, when I was a child and I was around 4, almost 5 years old, I spent 2 years of my initial life in a hospital, and I have been treated with acute myeloid leukemia, and they didn't really give me more than 1% chance at the time. And my parents actually took me out of the hospital and decided to treat me with natural remedies, organic and biodynamic and natural nutrition. And obviously I got better. They were really wrong about those odds. And today I'm really believe in, I became a huge believer of the organic movement, and also how nutrition and sport and exercise actually makes a huge difference in your life. For example, my grandmother was a huge testament to this. She was the one who introduced me to all of these nutritions, and also my grandmother at age 65 started walking 5 miles every day. Now she's 85, and we have no idea where she is. She's completely gone. So we miss her.
Well, you she kept walking. You grew up. You started in Hungary.
That's right.
And then you ended up in British Vancouver, Canada. How did your parents pick Canada?
It actually wasn't my parents at the time. I grown up in Hungary, and I moved on my own when I was 20 years old, and I moved with my brother. So, which is a wonderful thing, to have family, and he's my business partner today, and it's really an amazing thing to share that with a family. Family, something that you could trust, and family is like fudge, it's mostly sweet with a few nuts in it, so, and my brother is one of those, and I absolutely love him.
So by the time you moved from Hungary to British Vancouver, you were already healthy.
That's right. So I was treated with the leukemia when I was 4 and 5 years old, and then for the rest of my life, it actually really have affected me, because even though that I got better by my age 8, I was considered to be healed. This is kind of one of those diseases that you could relapse, like with most cancer, and so I had to go through tests all the time, very frequently, especially childhood leukemia. There is a certain age when you are mostly affected by that, and so due to the fact that I had to always be really careful with that, and I always been tested regularly, I always grown up with that kind of mentality that you have to make the best of every day, and then you just never know like what happens to you. So you really have to live your life to the fullest. So that explains a lot about my attitude and how I take business very seriously, but I don't take myself very seriously.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, so you really founded your company on the philosophies that your grandmother, I assume, particularly, and your mom sort of started with you back in Hungary.
That's right.
Are the formulas and the ideas still the same as they were back then, or have you altered them pretty much dramatically?
No, it's many of the things are very traditional, based on natural herbal remedies. Lots of organic and also biodynamic. We grow the ingredients organically and biodynamically back in Hungary, which means that the fruits and the herbs and the vegetables have very high nutrition content. So that creates great results. So one of the greatest benefit of using organic is that you get all the great results without all the side effects. Like, like sometimes you see those drug commercials, where you see like, take this, side effects include, and there's like 100 side effects. Actually the side effects outweighs the benefits. So this is one of those things where we want to make sure that there is much more effect than side effect with the product.
But that's kind of one of the interesting topics. There's a lot of controversy, right, about the clinical test and about you need all the kind of bad things to make it work. How do you stand up? Because we obviously believe in organic and natural here at the Golden Door as well. We're biodynamic farmers and sustainable and do all the things that we agree completely with your philosophy. But out in the other world, you have all those other companies, you can name a million of them, all saying that, oh my gosh, organic just doesn't do the job.
Well, I always say that look at the way how different you feel even when you eat organic food compared to when you eat something that's completely synthetic. You never go after you eat a hot dog and go like, I'm so glad I ate that. You're never gonna have that.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe at a ballpark though.
Yeah, well, maybe during, but not after. You're never gonna go after that. And it's a really important thing that the nutrition, you are really what you eat, and you really are what you put on your skin as well. And I think it's a very important to have there is a fine balance between science and organic. You can make organic things to be very, very potent. After all, some of the most venomous snake is completely an organic thing, and it's definitely some of the most powerful things was made by nature. So you could live completely clean, not completely clean, but you could really aim for it to be 100% clean of chemicals. One of the most interesting thing to see is that before you leave the house, how many chemicals do you actually, if you ever read the ingredients of your toothpaste, your hairspray, your shower gel, and then everything else, so before you even leave the house, you get exposed to hundreds of chemicals just before even you leave the house. So our aim was with Éminence is that let's at least your skincare routine to be not one of those bad chemicals that you put on your skin.
Well, which we agree 100%. We love your product. But the world of the beauty business is huge. I don't know, billions and billions, billions. And organic today lives all the way from Walmart, we always say, like to Barney's, right? Everybody has the ability to have organic. How does Éminence stand up against that crowd? Outside of you as this incredible personality, and your product happens to be terrific, but how do you tell to the people who don't know?
Who don't know what?
Who don't know your product?
Who doesn't know the product? Well, we don't want to be everywhere, because the products these are all handmade, handcrafted products. So we have a limited amount of the volume that we are able to produce. So our aim is not to be in every single place, but our aim is to be providing to those discerning clients who really do care about their so we are not the discount product that you would get off of a department store shelf. We are the premium, high quality organic products that we really believe in, and we can make only so much of.
That's a good
and
point.
It is.
So what are your favorite products?
What are my
your
favorite products?
Very, very favorite products.
My very favorite products
that you make.
Well, there's a couple of them. One of them is the dermafoliant. It's like a powder that has, actually it's a milk. It has milk lactic acid in it, and it's like, I'm sure you guys heard about that Cleopatra used to take bath in milk. Why did she do that? Well, one, because she could. She was kind of a big deal. But also because milk bath really hydrates the skin, and then she was absolutely beautiful for a very, very long time. So it is actually like almost like a milk bath for your skin itself. And because it's powdered, you could travel with it, you could go anywhere with it. It's absolutely a wonderful thing. It's a great exfoliant.
It's a great product.
Yeah,
it's
it really is.
It's great. It's a powder. And so he's right. You can go anywhere. It's a powder.
That's right.
You can use as little or as much, and it foams up and
you could
makes your
travel
face
with it.
like incredible.
You could travel with it.
Yeah,
and even you could get on a plane with it.
Exactly.
Although it's a white powder, so if you sprinkle it on the X-ray machine, you get a lot of excitement. It's very, very true.
Well, and so I sort of shared when I said hello to our guest tonight. Help us understand the concept, and I know you're going to help us clear this up, this enigma of the strawberry mask versus the papaya mask versus the orange mask, let's just pretend. Are there really a difference in each of those fruits?
Yes, of course. Each fruit is going to have different nutrition and different enzymes and different acids in them, and they cover different spectrums of skincare. Take
a strawberry. What would that be?
Well, strawberry, very high vitamin C content, for example. Anything with the darker the fruit, the more bioflavonoids that you're going to have in them. So like dark leafy vegetables, the more, like for example, blackberries, like, strawberries, the more vibrant the color, the more effective and more active it is going to be. So it's really helps to fight against free radicals. So it slows down the aging of the skin.
So if we were going out to go shopping for product, would we want to think about buying products that had more darker?
Yeah,
that's kind of a simple thing to think about.
The more vibrant the color
and
of something
lighter,
is.
If it was lighter, what would it be? If it was, I don't know, bananas or papaya?
Well, some will still have great effects, like like from that. So, for example, chamomile is much lighter. Yeah. It's very calming to the skin itself. Like calendula, like these are all herbs and flowers. That's very, very mild in color. But so each one of them have very specific it's geared towards very specific skin conditions.
So when you're out there training, which you do a lot of training, and you spend some time with our incredible staff training, which I know they appreciate that, what is a story that you could tell us about your adventures that was one of the funniest stories that you ever had in training?
I had many funny stories. One time I was doing a reward for one of the spas where I was doing facial for their best the best-selling esthetician and their top therapist, and I lit up her hair on fire. So this is a true story. It's awesome. What happened is that she was laying on the table, and then imagine her hair. She had this beautiful long ponytail. Used to have a beautiful long ponytail, and her hair hanged off on the end of the table. And what happened is I do the massage. It's completely dark, and I would have candle lights, like that's right next to the table.
Yes, we're imagining this with you.
And then it was on the other side of the massage table. So her hair, imagine this is the candle. The hair was hanging into, but I didn't see it because it's on the other side of the table. So. Like a minute into it, she's like, "Do you smell something?" And I'm like, I think I do. And I'm like, but I'm like, we just turned the heat on. It was just one of those like an October night, so it started to get cold. So and sometimes you get the dust burning off the heater. And then she's like, and I was like, oh, don't worry about it. So she falls back asleep and all that. And I start massaging her, and all of a sudden I see that over there the candle, like it's really bright there. So and then now her hair getting on full on flame, and then the sheet got on fire. So and I was like, oh my God, you're like, what are you gonna do? And I always believe in never panic, no matter what. Even if you mess up something, yes, it's meant to be in your eyes. Stop whining, So I figured I will grab. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? So I figured I'm gonna grab one of the pillows. There's always a pillow underneath of their knees. So I lift up the pillow, and as soon as I lift it up, she looks up, and I look down at her. imagine me standing in a dark room,
Yeah,
and so she looks at me and she thinks I want to kill her. So I'm thinking I want to take out the fire with the pillow, and then I start hitting her head with the pillow. So she starts screaming like, help, help. And I'm so nervous because I'm thinking this is so hilarious. I start having that really hysterical laugh, like, ha, 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 and I start hitting her head with the pillow, and so she thinks I snapped. She thinks I completely lost it, and then finally everybody like runs in from the spa and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, your hair is on fire. And she's like, what? And I'm like, your hair is on fire. And she's like, oh, okay, I thought you wanted to kill me. And so once you downgrade from murder to hair on fire is actually not that bad, So she was okay with it. It was really funny. That was
a great story.
I owed her a haircut.
You owed her a haircut.
Definitely.
That is a great story. Well, in all your training, and as an industry beauty expert, do you see things out in the marketplace that bother you about what people claim about ingredients? I mean, not bother you, that might be the wrong word, but you know what I mean? It's so much out there. Like right now, there's a bunch of advertising going on. It's a whole scam, by the way. It has buy Golden Door, and then if you click on it, it goes to some page and it's a complete scam. And we tried to go back to legal to fight to make it go away. You can't. It's cost so much money to stop it. There's just so much going on, not only in ingredients and labeling, but also in marketing. It's just frustrating. How do you deal with that?
It is very frustrating, especially for online sales. It's a big problem that sometimes there is even counterfeit product. Like we have had our products being knocked off before and trying to make it look like it was ours and selling it on different online things. So it's sometimes it's not real, and then we would get like the product returned, and we are like, this is not, we didn't even make that, so that does happen, and that is really frustrating. It's one of those things that we try to combat it, and we're trying to find it, but you shut down one and then another 10 pops up.
5 more just popped up today. Exactly. Lawyer says, I don't even know what to do.
Exactly.
And what about the fact that the regulation in the skincare industry is quite interesting?
It is. It is.
It's like harder on a silk shirt.
It is. It absolutely is. And I think it's also very important is like that we are really incredibly proud of the fact that we create natural, organic, and biodynamic products. But sometimes people can call something that's natural just because they put 1% of something in it, and then the rest is the horrible ingredients. So it's very important that you have to look at the entire packaging or the entire package of the product, not just that 1 or 2 ingredients in it. Sometimes things could be even called organic, but then once you reach that threshold of whatever percentage, depending on what state it is that's considered organic, the other 10% that's in it is like really bad ingredients. So I would say overall, like you have to look at the whole product, not just the part of it.
Of course, and you do that. Our audience loves the secrets of beauty. So what are some secrets of beauty that you are proud of with the Éminence brand?
Secrets of beauty. One is that...
Don't we love secrets of beauty?
Absolutely.
Of course. Just a few, just a couple, 2 or 3.
So you're looking for like little tips that you could do at home?
Not yet golden nuggets, just good tips.
Just good tips? Yeah. Okay, all right. So there is a couple of things that I think it's very important. First of all, there is external and internal health, and so one is obviously the nutrition. That's really important because it goes even from within. A little bit, it's very important that you don't go 100% absolutely fat-free because sometimes people go in these crazy diets, and then you could see that the face looks so stuck. Somebody may have lost a lot of weight, but the face looks like so sunken in afterwards. So it's very important that you choose the right kind of nutrition and the right kind of diet. I don't know if any of you vegan. No, you're too big to put your hand up.
Sometimes.
You are vegan sometimes. Yeah, that's right. Sometimes how they say that vegans don't even eat honey because they say that there's a few bees gets killed during the harvest of honey. You know how the beekeepers call those incidents? Those are the honey boo-boos. You're welcome to use that later. So one of the big things is that so you definitely want to make sure that you eat very healthy and have a balanced diet. Like, you know, this is important. Topically, a couple of things that is really important is that you always want to keep your skin really hydrated. Sometimes people with oily skin, for example, try to dehydrate their skin or degrease their skin, but that produces even more oil, and then actually that in return going to make you break out. So I actually really encourage people to always do an absolute awesome routine, even when you even hydrate your skin when you are oily. And if you are oily, I always say one of my little great little tips to want to stay matte is to keep your products in the refrigerator. So if you have a daughter, or if you yourself have an oilier skin, or you know somebody who has oilier skin, if they keep the products in the fridge, keeping it cold, the skin surface cold, you're actually gonna remain matte for much longer than otherwise.
That's a tip, right?
Also, the other thing is that if you are more drier, anything that's warm on the skin absorbs much better because it liquefies. So kind of like butter in a pan.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you start heating it up, it actually melts and liquefies. So after you come out of a hot shower, immediately after, while your skin is really nice and warm, is when you put on your moisturizers. The results of that very same cream will be much more magnified if you do it immediately after you come out of the bath.
So refrigerator for the oily skins and warm butter for those dry skins.
Exactly.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah, don't heat the product itself,
No,
but
don't
your
heat
skin
it.
is already really warm, so room temperature product, but you put it on the skin. I have an oily skin. I keep all my products in the fridge, and it's really fun. It's a typical guy thing. You know, most guys would have like beer in the fridge. I would have masks. You know,
So how often do you give yourself a mask?
Usually, well, depends. Like depending on where I am, because I'm oily combination. If I would I feel like I'm starting to break out, I would do it every day. But normally once or twice a week is what's ideal.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a different question now to ask you. You are probably one of the masters of presentation. I have personally sat in some of your educational conversations. And how did you get this incredible sense of humor and style? And you're quite brave about what you say out there, really, if you think about it.
Thank you.
So how did that come as a young boy to be quite that? He's very funny, very funny. And this is the Golden Door version of the funny, believe me.
I used to do stand-up comedy when I was a kid in high school. Like, you know, it's really funny. I always came in second, actually. So there was this other guy who always beat me, which was really sad. Like, he was always not nice to me. He was like, haha, I'm funnier than you are. He was not nice. So now he's a photocopy machine salesman, which makes me really happy. So the other year I went back to Hungary and I ran into him on the street, and he was like, hey dude, I saw your picture in a magazine. And I was like, really? Can you make a copy of that for me? You know, so
I did it.
So that's right. So I was always into comedy, and I always loved it. To me, one of the biggest things is that making others, like what makes me really happy to make other people happy, and then making other people laugh, I think is one of the greatest joy, and I absolutely love it. Like, you know, and it really makes me want to do more, and you feed off on people like yourself, like who is like such a great crowd. You feed off of that energy, and it goes back and forth, and it's wonderful. Seriously, I've done lots of presentations, but you guys are the most recent from all my presentations.
That was because yesterday.
The best Thursday presentation this week.
When you think about your company, which is so successful, and you make an incredible product, which I'm a big believer in, good product is what makes a great company. What's a game changer in your company that happened to make it really sort of soar? What was maybe a pivotal moment or a time that you says, wow, that's me, that's my company?
Well, it was a very interesting journey. Like, it was not an overnight thing. Like, you know, I love that sometimes people say to me, like, what an overnight success. Overnight was over like a few thousand nights. Like, you know, I would say when I originally started, organic and natural was not something 20 years ago. Honestly, it was not, people didn't understand it. They didn't understand what the word meant. Like, it was very interesting. So I really believed in it. I really did. Like, you know, I could tell that this was something that I really, truly, genuinely believe in it. I was working as an esthetician in Vancouver in Canada, and my clients loved it, and I was like, I want to share this with everybody because this is absolutely amazing. So, but because we didn't really have any money, And my brother and I, actually, when we originally first came to the country, we had, it's really crazy, but it's true. What we did is we started doing, because we didn't have the money at all, even for rent at the time. We actually were looking for really rent down apartments, and what we said is that we told to the landlord that we will remodel the place for free if you let us to stay in it. So we can stay there for free, and then so you buy the ingredients, I mean the parts, like, you know, like a carpet, the tile and everything else, and then we would remodel it for them. And that's how we get away with the remodeling. And then we started to, I got a job as an esthetician. My brother got a junior engineering position job, and then it was still, there was really not much that we could afford at the time. So my brother and I, for the first 7 years, we slept in the same pull-out sofa couch. So my brother was almost 32, 33 years old when we finally were able to have our own beds, and which is really crazy if you really think about it. So my brother really put up with that for a long time, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to go on the road, and I'm going to show this to everybody. And I took a car. I had a 75 Chevy station wagon. You know the Chevy Malibu station wagon? It's very hot. It's a real chick magnet. You know, with the wooden panels on the side. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's fantastic. It's like you could put like 6 bodies in the back. You know, so it's absolutely crazy. It's like a mafia car. What we did is I started to drive down from like Washington, you know, from Vancouver down to Seattle, down to Portland, down to San Francisco, LA, went to Vegas, New Mexico, and all that. And I stopped at every single city and looked at in the yellow pages, looked at every salon. That was yellow pages back then. You remember that? Like, you know, and there was payphones. That was the time when there were payphones and no GPS. And I looked up every salon, and then that's how I actually started. We started off with the company.
God.
And I visited around 300 to 400 spas and salons. How many do you think have brought in Éminence? Just say a number. What do you think?
I'm going to go with all of them.
Zero.
Oh,
Zero.
there you go.
Zero.
I'm more
I
positive.
had absolutely zero
No
at the time.
way.
Like for 4 months I was doing this trip. It was absolutely crazy. It was such a big defeat. And I really believed in it so much. Even afterwards, I was like, you know what, one day this is going to happen. Like one day it's going to happen. People didn't want to buy. They didn't know anything about organic at the time. And they were looking for the shiny box, you know, the glass jar and all that. And we have like the craft recycled box and all that. So we were kind of ahead of our time. And finally, what ended up happening is that Whole Foods came and then started to bring in the awareness to it. Reflexology, yoga, and all of these things became more and more popular. And when people realized that they're getting sometimes sick from all the chemicals, the whole natural became more popular, and that's how we came into the market.
Did you actually sell Whole Foods?
No, we don't. Like we only sell through spas and resorts
spas.
and salons.
So, you know, you're now about ready to be honored with something quite special. The 2015 iSpa Visionary Award this month in October. How does that feel?
That's an incredible achievement.
Don't you think? I mean, you are a visionary, and I'm so glad to be able to chat with you, but that's, wow. How does that make you feel?
Well, I think what's really important is that my mom always used to tell me that it's, you know, you should reach for the stars, but keep your foot on the ground. And I feel very humbled, and even more humbled by the fact that I got this award. And I think it is almost 20 years of really hard work that came to fruition, and like with this award. But it inspires me to work even harder to be able to earn. Now that I have this award, you have to really live up to it. Like, you know, so it's actually going to inspire me to work even more harder. And I appreciate you bringing it up, and I would like to give the compliment back to you. I'm not sure if you all realize that that Golden Door was voted by Travel and Leisure to be the #1 spa in the world this year. That is the #1 spa. So let's hear it for you. You actually, that's an even bigger award. You know, so I feel very honored to be here.
Yeah, well, we're very honored to be. You know, I want to pause a minute to get something sort of fun. What's your biggest guilty indulgence?
Shoes. I really like shoes.
Seriously?
I really
Let's
love
look at these
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, that's right. Shoes and
So you have a lot of
socks.
shoes?
That's right. I do have a lot of shoes. I absolutely love shoes, and I love really good food. I'm like, I really love great food and to travel. Those are my number one things. But shoes, I absolutely love
I
shoes.
love that. Well, we
yeah.
try to make sure that at the end of all of our nights that we have the perfect golden nugget. I think we've got a couple of golden nuggets that we've gotten tonight. But now is a chance for you to leave the perfect golden nugget for our guests. And that's sort of our last question. What are the golden nuggets if you want to leave more than one? We're quite thankful that you could leave for our guests tonight.
Well, I would say that happiness is not your circumstance. It's not what happens to you. It is a state of mind, and you could choose every day to have. It doesn't matter what happens to you. You could get sick, like I had the leukemia. You could be sleeping with your brother in the same bed for 7 years, and not to have money for a separate room. You could have whatever happens to you. You could always choose how you react to it. Sometimes you cannot choose what happens to you, but you could always choose how you can react to it. And happiness is up to you. It's always in your attitude. And every day you could choose to have such an attitude that other people wish they were you, even though that you may not be as fortunate as they are considering your circumstances.
Well, I want to thank Boldijarre for being with us tonight. And it's such a beautiful night out here. Just think about it. We're under the stars and these oak trees that have lived here for years and years and years. And we're sharing the evening with these incredible crickets. I think really they're frogs, but we'll say crickets. It sounds so much nicer. And I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you actually find some time to ask my friend and our partner at the Golden Door things about his amazing line, Éminence. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, ladies, very much for your time.